I know I said Tampa Bay was the biggest disappointment of 2017, but you could also consider the Oakland Raiders being the biggest disappointment in 2017. Considering the expectations people had for this Oakland team, everybody thought the Raiders were back. After that 2016 season they had, making it back to the postseason, the expectations were pretty high for the Raiders. Derek Carr is coming off his ACL surgery, stronger and better than ever. The Raiders signed Marshawn Lynch in the offseason to take a load off of Derek Carr. The Raiders were going to be the team in the AFC to knock off the Patriots dynasty. But things just really blew up in their faces. They started off 2-0, but that week 3 Sunday night game against the Redskins, that was, I think, was the season breaker for the Raiders. Their offense just couldn't generate any points. It really struggled, and Derek Carr had a back injury week 4. He missed a couple of games. He missed quite a bit of time. But the Raiders just seemed to fall really flat. The Raiders were able to get a couple of wins throughout the season. But just anything that went wrong for the Raiders, it went wrong. And the Raiders can make it back to the postseason in 2018. And the year ended with them firing head coach Jack Del Rio. And they hired Jon Gruden for $100 million for the next 10 years. That's $10 million a year. So if they're going to pay Jon Gruden that type of money, they better hope he delivers. And with this draft board I have behind me, you'll notice it says pick number 9 or pick number 10. That's because the 49ers and the Raiders will flip a coin at the NFL Combine to determine who gets pick number 9 and who ends up with pick number 10. So either way, they're going to get a great quality player, a great top 10 pick, top 10 talent. As you can see in the draft board behind me, I have them maybe deciding on a couple different things. We'll start off with linebacker. I think that's what might their biggest need be. Roquan Smith out of Georgia. He's got top 10 talent. In fact, it would surprise me if the Raiders passed up on him at pick number 10. He seems like somebody that could develop into an elite linebacker one day. A defensive end. Bradley Chubb or Arden Key, if they're still available. One of them should still be available by the time it's the Raiders' turn. So we'll see what they do. If Bradley Chubb falls to him at pick 9 or 10, I think Bradley Chubb, if he falls out of the top 5, it's a steal at that point. And you notice I have cornerback and safety questioned. I have a question mark by them. Do they want to take a corner or a safety? Cornerbacks, the 3 that should be available in the top 10. The 3 that are really going to be talked about. Denzel Ward of Ohio State, Joshua Jackson out of Iowa, and if he's still there, Minkah Fitzpatrick of Alabama, but I don't think Fitzpatrick's going to be there. So it would come down to either Joshua Jackson out of Iowa or Denzel Ward out of Ohio State. And for safety, I had that question mark, but Derwin James. A couple of mock drafts I've had, they've got Derwin James in a couple of them. And I noticed, and if you notice at the bottom, I put offensive line at the bottom of that list. Could the Raiders want to draft an offensive lineman? Considering Derek Carr has been injured at some point in the last 2 seasons, do they want an offensive line to help beef up the offensive line to protect Derek Carr? And in later rounds, I didn't put running back on here, but running back is something they might pursue in some later rounds. Like if you can see, I think it'll either be a linebacker or a defensive end at pick 9 or 10 because Jon Gruden, he's a defensive guy. Jon Gruden loves defense. He loves grinders in the defensive side, and there are a lot of grinders in that top 10. Now, offensive line, they might, who knows, maybe the Raiders will trade back into the first round and maybe take somebody like Orlando Brown, maybe in the late 20s, if he's still there. Or they can maybe trade up for a cornerback. Maybe if Denzel Ward's available in the late teens, maybe they'll trade back in the first round. You never know. Jon Gruden could do something crazy like that. And running back in later rounds, I think the Raiders will go running back in the second or third round, depending on which type of running backs are still available. Because if you look at the pieces the Raiders have right now, Derek Carr quarterback, you've got solid wide receivers in Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. You've got Marshawn Lynch, but he's up there in age, and he came out of retirement this season. And I think Marshawn Lynch only has one more year in the NFL. So they might want to get a running back in the second or third round. An offensive line, I think they might try to find offensive line maybe in free agency. But I put offensive line there because just in case they couldn't get anything done in free agency, it could still be there for the draft. Anyway, that's how I see it. If I had to pick the Raiders pick right now, I would say it could be Roquan Smith or it could be Bradley Chubb if he's still there. I think it's coming down to those two. More than likely Roquan Smith. Anyway, that's the Raiders draft board for you. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share this with your Raiders fans out there. Get their opinion. Have them comment their opinion in the comment section down below. I will see you next time. Have a great day, everyone.